it's Ali Drew for Boxing Social in association with Betfred, and I'm joined by Adam Booth, who is here in Newcastle with Josh Kelly and Harlem Eubank. It's a big fight week for your stable. How are they finding the week so far?
It's normal. It's just killing time, trying not to get too bored and just trying to make each other laugh as much as possible. Standard fight week stuff.
In the fight week, do you feel pressure in fight week? Are you trying to keep sort of on top of everything, like making weight and the fight prep, or is it quite a chilled week for you?
It all depends. I guess it all depends on what's going on, if there's any problems or not. But this week, I don't want to curse it, and there's no wood, but it's been about as easy going as a fight week has been.
So we'll start with Harlem Eubank. So he's looking for another emphatic win. He had one last month, or May I think it was, which was a great performance. He's looking for more of the same. Are you seeing him on a good momentum now?
Harlem's been on a steady progression probably for the last 2 or 3 years. People don't see yet what he does in the gym, although last time out with his sort of highlight reel knockout, something showed out a little bit there technically as well. But really, you know, there's still a long way to go for Harlem to fulfill his potential, and you know, he's such a great guy to work with, and such an easy young fighter to work with as well. He's a joy, and his journey is fun. And obviously, there's going to be, you know, tests and hard times ahead. But he's also shown that what he goes through in the gym, he's got the mental stability to really maximise himself.
And headlining on Saturday, Josh Kelly, on the comeback trail. He had a great performance last time out. Is he ready now to be stepping it up, pushing forwards? There's talk of the British title fight has been ordered by the board. Do you see this is now where the stage of his career where it's going to be stepping up the big levels?
It's going to be really, really interesting now with Josh, because ever since he first came into the gym, it was obvious that he had a very high level IQ, that he had toughness and talent, and his ability, which has always been there ever since I first met him, wasn't necessarily matched with his growth as a young man and where he was as an individual. And he's now spoken out quite openly about the process that led up to the defeat and what he's been dealing with after and subsequently. And it's for me, it's now fascinating, because, you know, everybody says that fighting is 90% mental, training is 90% physical, and we know that Josh technically and physically can do stuff. And seeing the evolution of him as a man and how mentally he's just become a different person, for me now, it's going to be fascinating. I've always had belief in him as a person, as a fighter, and I now have more belief in him than before he lost, because you can say, like, until you pressure something, you don't know where the breaking point is, and the breaking point for him as a person was the pressure of a certain moment, and what's happened subsequently is really enjoyable for me to watch.
And he is focused on Saturday night, but there is all this talk surrounding the British title with Troy Williamson. That is a fight they both seem to want. Do you see that fight happening next? And obviously you're going to say you see that Josh would get the win, but how do you see that fight would go? Because that is a clash of styles, and that is going to be an exciting fight.
Well, every fight is a match-up of styles, whether they're similar styles or opposite styles. Really like Troy Williamson. I think his last 2 fights, especially the win against Ted Cheeseman, was fantastic, and I was there watching that. Josh knows him from the amateurs. They get on well, and when that fight happens, it'll be a great match-up. Whether that's next or not, I don't know. Want to get through Saturday. The board have ordered it. Terms haven't been agreed yet, so potentially it goes to purse bids in August, with the fight to take place by the end of December. That's when the board have asked for it to take place by. So whether there's an interim fight or not, I don't know. Our focus now is solely on Bastida and Saturday.
We had the press conference earlier, and it didn't get heated, but there was some words exchanged, and Bastida said that he thought Josh was quite small. He is going up in weight, but he seems very comfortable at that weight. Were you surprised he called him small?
No, I don't really care what he says. It's irrelevant. If you look at boxing history, what people say before fights has proven to be, half the time someone's got it wrong. And
when they stood face to face, Josh wasn't small at all.
Josh is a huge super welter. He's just that he was boiling down while still growing into welterweight. But Josh has sparred with middleweights, super middleweights, and physically imposes himself on them. So, just because Bastida said he's small for a super welter, it's not going to change what I know about Josh. If he believes that, then the surprise for him will be when he sees Josh standing across the ring.
Well, when they were in front of each other, Josh didn't look smaller than him physically. He was a lot broader. So
it's because Bastida's translator said it.
Yeah, he might not have said it. So just looking at the rest of your stable, you have just come back from Marbella. Lovely. A hard working trip, but nice to get the boys away from the norm and the normal sort of gym routine.
Yeah, it's like any career that's a successful career is long, and you do things from time to time to break it up. And so I took seven of them out there. It was great, excellent training. They really did push on it just to change it up a bit, increase the intensity, and they've come back, and both Mick and Josh have arrived at the point that they want to be, well ahead of schedule.
You mentioned Mick there, so Michael Conlan. He is fighting next week in Belfast, his comeback fight. It's a harder fight than he needed to take. He's not afraid to take a hard fight. He could have come back a bit with an easier fight, but that's not his mentality. And are you looking forward to him getting back in the ring and showing that he is still at the level of world title?
Well, he proved that he was a world level fighter in his last fight against Lee Wood, and I think it's one of those strange situations where you lose a fight but your value's gone up, and the fact that it was nominated as Fight of the Year goes to prove that. Didn't go his way on the night, but that's just his journey. That's not the first fight that will happen to, won't be the last. But you judge it when it's all said and done. But he established himself that night as a world level fighter. He knows he is, and so he needs challenges to bring I think that's what that proved, that the challenge brings the best out of him. So to step him down too much would make him a little bit lethargic, whereas Mariaga's has got Mick's attention, and when you get Mick's attention, you get the best out of him.
What kind of fight are you expecting from Mick next Saturday?
I'll keep that to myself, because you never know who's watching and who might speak to the other fella. But we know what he's got to do, and he's now got the experience of a big fighter against Lee Wood, albeit some of that experience is a painful one, but it's all experience nonetheless. And if you internalize it the right way and you deal with it the right way, it can only make you better. And that's something I have seen in Mick. He's been challenged in sparring, challenged in training, and he's proved that he's still got the taste in the stomach for what needs to be done.
That rematch, is that a fight that, as a team, as Mick's team, are you looking for that rematch with Lee Wood?
Well, we would have taken it straight away, but my understanding is that Lee Wood didn't want it straight away, and that's fair enough. That's his right. It wasn't a mandatory challenge. So the fight's not happening now. No point in talking about it. Mick's got value as a fighter because he's a world-class fighter with a huge following. As long as he keeps winning, opportunity will arise, whether that's Lee Wood or someone else.
Because he's been linked with, there's quite a lot in the division in Britain that are world level. Josh Warrington, would that be a fight that would interest? All of
it interests Mick. Mick knows he's there. He'll challenge any of them until it's right. We'll just go about our business. We've sold out the arena in Belfast for next week for a non-title fight, and so I just think that goes to prove that Mick's a fighter that people want to watch. And like I said, your ability and your popularity combined create opportunity, and Mick's in a perfect position for that.
Another fighter in your stable, Liam Williams. What is the latest with him? Any fight news coming up?
I've been told that it's September time, and that from his fight against Eubank Jr., that there was as part of the agreement, he had a comeback fight should he have lost. And I guess that's what we're waiting to hear.
Okay, well, away from your fighters, just in the boxing sort of world, obviously big fight that's coming up is Usyk AJ2 in Saudi Arabia. How do you see that fight going? Is it going to be revenge or repeat?
I think the Usyk, I think it'll be closer than the first fight for different reasons. I probably still favour Usyk. And I think that AJ will probably try and assert himself physically a little bit more this time, which he should have done first time. But it's a close fight. It's closer than the first one. But I still slightly favour Usyk.
And then, if you think Usyk wins, after that, what do you think is going to happen in the sort of heavyweight division? We've heard Tyson Fury saying he wants to come out of retirement if AJ wins, but not necessarily if Usyk wins the rematch. How do you see that sort of planning out now going forwards?
I don't know. If I'm honest, I don't have a heavyweight, so I don't pay much attention to it in a business sense. I just watch it as a fan. I'd like the winner to fight Tyson Fury, because Tyson Fury is still the man that dislodged all the belts from Klitschko, and he rightfully can call himself number one. And it would be nice for the winner of AJ and Usyk to fight him as a fan.
As fans, we just want to see the best fight the best, don't we? In all divisions.
Oh, yeah, well, what we want to see is competitive, well-matched fights. It doesn't have to be the best in each division. You can get entertainment at all levels throughout boxing. What we want to see is competitive fights made, not fights where, when you look down the card, you can predict the winners comfortably, and if you put £100 on the bookies, you might win £1 back because it's that bad. So, British boxing's thriving. A lot of really good fighters and a lot of good matchups to make, as well as world boxing. So we just want to see them.
Exactly. Well, I'll let you get on, but enjoy the rest of this week and next week. Busy time for you. But all the best.
Thank you very much.